Hello, welcome back to the moon cycle spread reading. So 2 days ago I did the first quarter moon spread for the moon cycle tarot spread that I've been learning. Yesterday, realistically, I could have actually done the Waxing Gibbous Moon, but I just didn't have the appropriate time. So today, whilst I'm not going to have any interruptions, I am ready to kind of get stuck in. So I've got my notebook ready to go. I have opened up my tarot deck. So I am ready to make a start on this. Yeah, I hope that you've been enjoying following along and watching me learn and grow, because I've certainly enjoyed being able to document this process and experience. And even, just being able to kind of go back and reflect on some of the things that I'd experienced in previous readings, and kind of just seeing my confidence change a little bit, seeing where I'm having a little bit of the, I wouldn't say difficulty, probably more so like, on the days where I just haven't been 100% energetically there, and I can kind of see that in the videos I'm definitely more visibly drained. So I think it's definitely good if I'm able to try and do a little bit more earlier in the day if I can. I understand being a parent, it does it does make things difficult sometimes. So whilst I don't have children home today, I'm gonna get stuck into the next part of this reading. I do like doing the readings at night. I feel more energetically open then, but in saying that, I have had some great success doing it sort of in the morning once I'm child free as well. So yeah, let's get stuck into it. Alright, so I have already opened my deck, so I'm just going to work through and do some shuffling with them. I've sort of, oh hello, it's come flying out. I've been practicing some of my shuffling techniques as well, and I'm not very good, but practice makes perfect, right? So the card that decided to flip out on me is the Knight of Coins, which is a really pretty card, but I see, like, with the purple, the different shades of purple there, I'm starting to, like, my association with colours is like generally the warmer colours, so like your reds, your oranges, yellows, even pinks. I generally feel more warmth and positivity from those cards, but that's just my association with colour. And the cooler colours, so your purples, your blues, your greens, and even colours that I suppose probably commonly known as more darker colours, I tend to think there's a little bit more, I wouldn't say negativity, but it's not like uber positive. There's a bit more going on there. So yeah, but I'm sort of getting different vibes because there's different shades of purple here. I'm kind of getting, let me just write down Knight of Coins. Coins can be a funny sort of a suit. There's one card in particular that always springs to my mind when I think of coins, and it's generally kind of like the lowest of the low. So like seeing the coins, I start to panic a little bit because I think, oh my God, is this, what's happening here? But I'm sort of getting a little bit more like, you're almost there. And this particular stage in the Waxing Gibbous Moon is about perfecting. So like what details, are not aware of, or are you overlooking, or not really had that much thought about that you need to start focusing on in order to get to where you're going in your goal. Like there's always, like anything, like any kind of plan that you make, you've sort of got to think about, okay, what are the things that I need to consider after I've done all of this work? Like what are the things that could arise? So I'm sort of getting like, you're almost there, but that was sort of like the word, you're almost there, but I heard the word confidence. And it's interesting because I feel like over the last day or so I've started to feel a little out of alignment and starting to have a little bit of the confidence deplete a little bit. And I definitely heard confidence. I heard power. I even heard superpower as well. I don't know if that's like meant to be an individual thing. Okay, yeah, it is. All right. Kind of getting the like leadership vibes as well, like, you know, the knight. And just like with the image that's on this card, like it's an individual, well, it's a skeleton, but person, essentially. It's like an individual thing. And I think this is, yeah, I'm kind of getting like a lot of these words that are popping through. It's more about like on an individual level, like you need to not yeah, take back power might be sort of what I'm vibing, but like have faith in yourself, like and not so much in that sense of like, oh, you know, everything's going to be really positive, have faith in yourself. It feels more like it's a bit more of a personal thing. Like, we can see that you've been starting to have a bit of self-doubt and a little bit of confidence depleting. This is the time where, in order to perfect this, you really need to hone in and make sure that you're understanding the power that you have, understanding that with that confidence and your abilities, that's your superpower. That's kind of what I'm getting. Yeah, it's almost, yeah, it's sort of like the first thing I thought was like, you're almost there, but like, and not saying but in a negative way, it's just you're almost there, and it's you should be able to see that finish line. You're almost there, you're that close, but there's just those few little things that you need to do like within to be able to get to that line. So that's kind of what I'm vibing on right now. Is there anything else? Yeah, okay. Abundance is on the way. So I guess that's sort of like what I was just talking about. And it's interesting because yesterday I had a phone call which has sort of made this particular cycle of a spread, like I said before, like going back and looking on it and kind of seeing each step of that and then slowly getting the answers. I can kind of see how everything's pieced together. And in the previous reading I did, I was talking about the fact that I'd made a decision and it wasn't the one that I thought I was going to go with. And this one's kind of giving me the vibes of like, and this is why you made that decision before you even got to this section. So in this phone call, you know, I'd been at an impasse with 2 jobs and I couldn't quite figure out which one's going to be good for me, because I've had experience in one through a student placement and I've had a lived experience through the other one, and they've both got really great opportunities for further education and growth. And I really just felt like I could see myself in both of these roles, and I'm not really sure which way I should be going. But the phone call that I got yesterday kind of cemented the decision that I'd made a couple of days before. So, you know, I think this job that I got the phone call for, which was that I was, you know, I'd made it through 160 applicants. I made it to the top 10 and then got through to, you know, the second round of interviewing. And, you know, the phone call yesterday was that unfortunately I didn't progress any further, and that's fine. I think because I'd made the decision that potentially I should really be going with the other one, that this is almost like popped up as like, and this is why when you made that decision we were guiding you that way, because we knew that you weren't going to be makes it sound really negative there, but like you weren't going to be successful getting this one. And I don't think it's that I wasn't a really good candidate, because one of the things that the person had said to me was that you've pretty much got everything that we'd be looking for. The only thing that, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but the other candidate that we're looking at progressing to the next one, or the other candidates have had a little bit of volunteer experience, which I understand that, but sometimes that kind of makes me feel even worse, because it's sort of like, but that's sort of what my student placement is. Not only is it for learning, but I'm volunteering my time. I'm there because I want to be there. If I didn't want to be there, I wouldn't be there. I wouldn't commit to that 4 or 5 days a week of getting it done, you know, like, so I get it, but at the same time it's a little bit like, ugh. So I don't know if maybe that's why I felt a little bit less confident, because it, you know, the comment yesterday was, you know, you are so close, like, to getting there, that it's almost like, I feel like I've heard that so many fucking goddamn times, that it's almost lost that sense of meaning. Like, it's almost now starting to come through from a place of negative thought rather than positive. But I think, having been able to sleep on it, I can absolutely understand it. I can absolutely understand it, and I'm grateful for the experience. But I think yesterday there was still that very minute part of me that was a little bit like, I just feel like I'm not getting ahead, and it's sort of like I'm constantly being told how close I am, but it just feels like there's just doors slamming in my face left, right, and center. So I feel like with this, you know, the first thing that popped up is like, you're almost there, but, and it's like, oh, really, again? You know, and then the second word to come through was confidence, and I think for me, I'm starting to kind of take that in and go, maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what it is about perfecting where I'm at, is that I've got what people are looking for. What I'm doing in the application process is working. It's just, I need to have more confidence in myself, and I think that's where that superpower comes in. So, you know, even like that, have faith in yourself. It's like, you can do this. So that's sort of what I'm getting from this. It's not necessarily, you know, because like I said, I associate the cooler colours with lesser of the super duper positive. It's not saying that it's completely negative. It's just, it's that mode of being like, okay, you are really nearly there, but there's just one more thing we need you to pay attention to and work on, so that we can deliver the next thing for you. So that's what I'm getting from the Knight of Coins. And coins, which is the pentacles in the traditional tarot, kind of represents that financial, physical matters sort of thing. So yeah, that's sort of what I'm getting from it. So to give that context, you know, if you have watched other videos and then you watch this one, it might help you understand sort of how I've been able to process things as well. But yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have a quick read through and just make sure that what I've picked up is somewhat relatable to the meaning of this card. So I'll be back shortly. Okay, so I'm back. I've got a bit of a funny grin on my face because, you know, when I was reading through to actually pick up, like, you know, obviously like Page, Knight, King and Queen will have like what they represent in a person, and then what it means in like a reading or a situation. And I started giggling because I just felt like, in the vibes that I got and then what I was kind of discussing, was just like bang on with what this card was trying to tell me. So it basically says, you know, like, you are a hardworking person. So on a personal level, you're hardworking. You can be quite cautious. You're always very dependable, reliable, but sometimes you need a little bit of a nudge. And I absolutely agree with that, particularly in this scenario for myself, is it's like, oh my God, yes. The other thing that came up was that, you know, slow and steady wins the race, which, yes, we've elaborated on that. But there was also a particular passage in that, when it was explaining a bit more in terms of the situation, where I really felt like all I could do was just crack up laughing and be like, oh my God, yeah, you may as well have just like... This card to me kind of felt like they just went, whack, come on Heather, wake up. But it can feel like no progress is being made, and you feel that you're like missing out on the race, but that's not actually the case. It's about slow and steady winning the race. So I did have a really good chuckle at that when I read that, because I was just like, that's exactly what I was talking about before. And that it is a gradual process, which I was, you know, expanding on before, was like, things do take time, and I understand that there's different areas, and I think that's why I sort of felt like quite stagnated, because it was like, I feel like I've just been repeating the same thing. Yes, there's been improvement in the way that I approach applications, the way that I've learnt to use the right language in my resume and how to lay that out, and you know, that whole application process, I feel like I've developed more confidence with. I don't necessarily like it, which I don't think many people do, because it does feel like sometimes it can take hours just to get through all of your application stuff. But this is also talking about being methodical in the actions that you are doing to be able to bring about the best results, which then kind of just backs up what I was just saying. You know, it is a gradual process, and I think what I found really funny was that I have been feeling a little bit kind of like, oh, I'm almost there, I'm almost there, I'm almost there, and then you just feel like going, am I ever going to get there? I feel like I'm never going to get into this race because it feels like there's doors slamming in my face. So it was quite funny that I got that, actually. I did have a good chuckle. So there you go. So I think some of those words that came through for me are probably a little bit more individualized to, you need to hear this because you're obviously not listening, or we probably haven't been clear in the message as well, because sometimes when I'm trying to ask the message, I can't word it properly. Like I'm trying to get it out and it's not coming out efficiently. So maybe that's why they're kind of like, well, you asked really clearly today. Here's the real clear answer. But yeah, I think, you know, this particular card coming through for me at the time with what my experience has been, you know, throughout the entirety of this cycle, and seeing that it's about the perfecting stage, and what came through for me is absolutely bang on for me. You know, I feel that I can pick out the stuff that's more individualized, that I know, like I'm aware of, that I need to be thinking about a little bit more, because I feel like I've had those subtle cues in the last couple of days of, you're allowed to feel like this, but we just need to nudge you up a notch so that you can start climbing back up in that confidence. So there are things that I can see that are absolutely personalized to me, and I can see the entirety of the card as well and how it's relevant. So I'm pretty happy with the result that came through, and what I was picking up was fairly much the same as what the card represents. So I feel that in itself has been enough of that confidence. It's given me that boost in the confidence just in this area. So I think when I start to feel a bit more comfortable and more confident in something that I'm enjoying doing and I'm really loving learning about, and I'm really wanting to pursue and push myself to develop further, I think this was the confidence boost, I think, in some ways too. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, so I think that one was quite good, and I got a lot of really good messages there. So yeah, I think I'll leave it there for now, and thanks again for joining me. And I believe the next cycle of the moon is the actual full moon, which I believe is the 24th. The 24th, I think that's a Saturday, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so that will be the next lot of the reading that I do. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see the whole cycle of the moon, and then being able to kind of go back and reflect and learn more. So thanks for joining me, and I hope you've enjoyed this so far.